have acted unconstitutionally. The trust gave residential leases of the king's subjects for land the king was holding in trust on their behalf. He also dismissed a challenge for the validity of the will of the late King Goodwill's Lekhuleni Zulu. Judge Matondo says he works with traditional leaders on how to run affairs pertaining to the country's laws.
In the rural area, the gate is at the leader. If you rope the leader in and they call a bizo and send our officers or officials to address those people, they ask questions, give them credible answers, and the complaints they lodge, you work on them in such a way they see that something is happening. That will restore the confidence.
Matondo says voter apathy within South Africa's electorate can be mitigated by starting voter education at a younger age.
Voter registration must start at the schools, because a person can register at the age of 16 or have to vote at the age of 18. So if those people are exposed to the electoral process at that stage, that can help. And also, that should be corroborated with the issuing of IDs, because the people who are to do the ID, take an ID at the age of 16, and must also register.
Senior Communications Officer at the Kenya Human Rights Commission, Ernest Connell, says the charges against arrested prominent human rights activist Boniface Mwangi will not stand in court. Mwangi was arrested at the weekend on suspicion of facilitating terrorist acts linked to deadly anti-government protests last month. The Directorate for Criminal Investigation said on X that detectives had arrested Mwangi at his home in Mmatsheko County at the weekend and had seized 2 unused tear gas canisters and 1 7.62 blank round, along with 2 mobile phones, a laptop and a notebook. In addition, Mwangi is also due to be arraigned for unlawful possession of ammunition. Colonel says Kenyans will attend court in solidarity with Mwangi.
We expect, of course, the Director of Public Prosecution to see through the scheme that the government is employing, to see through it that these are malicious charges. These are charges that won't stand any test of law, and these are charges that cannot be prosecuted. And therefore, we expect that the DPP will have this case dropped immediately.
Lastly, the Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has said he will stay in office despite his defeat in the upper house elections. He said Japan needed political stability to deal with economic problems. Ishiba's power is reported to be weakening. The BBC's Shaima Khalil.
Make no mistake, he may have accepted the results, he may have apologized and taken responsibility for this embarrassing loss of the LDP and its coalition, but there is a great deal of frustration, there is a great deal of anger inside the factions of the LDP. On another hand, I also think that the LDP realize that even though they've been embarrassed in the ballot box, they have to show a united front. They have to get their house in order and show support for struggling Japanese households that have really punished them in the ballot box because of their abysmal performance in the way that they have with the economy.
Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
a.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African Time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside
The
team.
Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito, coming to you live from the Auckland Park studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Catch us live on our social media platforms where you can stream us in our lovely studio at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. Let us know where you're listening to us from. We'd love to hear from you. I want to hear your voice. +27 63 406 9126 is the WhatsApp line. If you have DSTV, it's channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and as always, you can download the SABC Plus app. Good afternoon to you, Mmatsheko Mosito. How are you doing?
Oh man, I'm gonna need to start paying you, brother. Mmatsheko Mosito, how you doing?
When next time you go on stage, call me, I'll be your hype man.
Listen, I'm gonna do that. And also, if I had walked in here in a bad mood, you have completely squashed all of that. Thank you. It's so good to be in your company. I'm great, thank you. How was the weekend?
Oh, it was an adventure-filled weekend, I tell you.
As per
usual. We did a bit of hiking, did a bit of game driving. I was driving around in a massive 4x4 car this weekend.
Look at you.
We're busy playing with big boys now. I tell you what, driving an automatic, I realized driving any automatic, it feels like you're driving a toy car. I know it feels weird, I know, and it sounds weird, I know. But I'm so used to manual, right? Changing your own gears, deciding how much you're accelerating, revving, blah, blah, blah. On automatics, like you're just driving a toy. Just put one foot down, the other one controls the brakes and the accelerator. You're not doing much, but it was fun. A big car, but I felt like I was in control because it was automatic. But it was an adventure-filled weekend. So many memories, so many pictures. I'll share some of those with you a bit later.
I was about to request that can we see some footage, some proof of the fun, but we're definitely going to catch up with you. And also, if you want to do yourself a favor, follow Tebogo Lekhuleni on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I'm on TikTok.
You are on TikTok.
Through the air. But you see, he's there with his 12 million people and views. So we're going to join and check it out. But otherwise, welcome to the Upside. It's a pleasure to begin a brand new week with you. We've got so much happening on the show. Of course, if you had missed the throw forward, we are looking at infrastructure at Imo State University, and we're going to be catching up with somebody who is in the space of education activism, who's going to tell us a bit more about what is happening to the facility and how the deterioration is affecting the students on campus. That is in the first hour. What else is happening?
Then we've got Decorex coming up to the Johannesburg region. 4 days of design, food, and inspiration at this year's Decorex 2025. Then we get into conversation with Sibongile Maputla, who launched SA's first investment gifting app. Instead of giving your kids a gift on their birthday, take that money and put it into an investment app so that it grows over time, and then eventually one day when they're out of the house, they have something to fall back on or invest with. I don't know. And then we unlock potential with Nedbank's 2025 Youth X Awards. It's awards that just focuses and celebrates entrepreneurs on the African continent, specifically in South Africa, and that's a conversation I personally am looking forward to. Can't wait to spend the rest of the 3 hours with you. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. This is The Upside on Channel Africa.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Channel Africa, your voice, your sound, and your home. Stay locked right here.
Channel Africa.
Greatness. DJ Natil.
Africa, the African perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion. Most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here. So join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are on the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion. Most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here. So join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are on the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion. Most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here. So join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are on the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion. Most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here. So join us.
It's after 1 p.m. Central African time. Nobody by DJ Neptune featuring Joe Boy and Mr. Easy. Is Mr. Easy in there?
Mr. Easy is
Mr.
indeed part of the
Easy in
party.
that. Oh my goodness me. What a way to kickstart our show this afternoon. This is the Upside on Channel Africa, the African perspective with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. We are your gateway to the good life on the African continent. And we're also your gateway to important and valuable conversations that matter for the African child. And this one in particular concerning the infrastructure, the educational infrastructure in Nigeria. Are we going to Nigeria? Is particularly of interest to us because education is the key to success. And we want to ensure that the students have proper educational facilities that will enable them to unlock their potential.
All right, so we are going to be looking at what is happening with the infrastructure at Imo State University, because it is troubling as you and I speak, with many of its facilities showing clear signs of neglect. There's a lot of deterioration that's been reported, and this is across the campus, as I understand it. Students and staff are navigating broken walkways, and there's a lot of just... I mean, I am particularly interested in how this dilapidation is affecting the learning, how these conditions are actually affecting the student from an educational point of view. So without any further ado, let's cross to the lines and speak to Ido Nwabe Okungun, who is the program coordinator for the Electronic Education Initiative, and an education activist. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you? Mr. Akugon?
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, there you are. Thank you very much. I think please give us just an understanding. I think for those of us that are not in Nigeria currently, perhaps talk us through the institution, as just perhaps give us a little bit of history about the institution and how long it's been in the state.
So every the federal government in Nigeria has every a federal institution and a state institution. The state institution is run by the state government, while the federal institution is run by the federal government. So we have public institutions, and these are, of course, public government funded. So the Imo State institution is run by the state government in the state. So that is, in particular, is an issue, because once we have public institutions, they are less funded. So these are always are an issue when it comes to resource control and infrastructure. Most of the institutions we talk about academics and schools. We talk about how these schools are being sustained after the infrastructure has been put in place. Continuity, as far as the students and faculty and professors are being paid, years going after they've been put in place, is always going to be a problem. So since the inception of Imo State University, of course, I've consulted for the National Universities Commission. And so once we put the minimum requirements for every university to go into existence, that the university has the minimum barest requirement to start the program to get off the ground. It looks great from day one. But then the next year and the year after and the year after that, it starts to decapitate after that. And then we have to start going back into to say, okay, what happened? And of course, the students have, they start getting admissions, but we have to realize that these kids are from, poor backgrounds. So we have to keep it at their school fees are very, very, subsidized. So that is a problem going forward, that these schools are subsidized, they're cost effective, but that is a problem because the state government don't have enough funds to maintain the schools. And that's always an issue going forward.
If you are a student at the Imo State University and would like to weigh in on this conversation, we'd love to hear from you. Our WhatsApp line is +2763 406 9126. We'll continue the conversation about the infrastructure crisis at Imo State University right after this.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e João Yabalá.
O surto da cólera em Angola tem causado grande preocupação, afetando já mais de metade das províncias do país. Simultaneamente, a Agência dos Estados Unidos para o Desenvolvimento Internacional, USAID, um dos maiores doadores mundiais de assistência humanitária, decidiu não priorizar os países com maior incidência de malária. Para discutirmos as causas do alastramento da cólera em Angola e os impactos dessa decisão da USAID, convidamos o Dr. Jeremias Agostinho, médico e mestre em saúde pública, para partilhar a sua visão sobre o tema.
A doença, nesse momento, representa o maior risco de saúde pública que nós temos. Nos últimos anos, a nossa preocupação esteve sempre centrado com os casos de malária, os casos de tuberculose e também de infecção por VIH-Sida. A forma como, em pouco menos de 2 meses, os casos de cólera vêm aumentando, acaba por representar, nessa altura, um dos maiores desafios que o país tem. É expectável que, nesta fase, o número de casos venha a aumentar.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África.
This is The Upside for the best African vibes, groundbreaking content.
Well, let's continue our conversation about the crumbling infrastructure at the Imo State University. Joining us to further unpack it is education activist and Electronic Education Initiative Program Coordinator Idonwagbe O Akugon. Mr. Akugon, let's talk about the current state of the university. Paint a picture for us, for those who are not in Nigeria, for those who are not studying at the Imo State University. Paint a picture for us of the dire situation that it currently is in.
So, like I said, once a school is initiated, Imo State University was launched in 1981. So as you can imagine, this was back in the 80s. So at that time, the infrastructure was A+, fantastic. There was no, as far as technology, it was very minimal. But nowadays, in the Western world, when we have all the infrastructure you can think about as far as computers and all those things that the average kid now is expecting as you go into a classroom, we're expecting, AI and everything, multimedia, and, internet capacity. Those things are not necessarily in the Imo State University to utilize. Yeah, even as far as even water drainage going into dormitories now. An average kid is going into his dormitories, and we're talking about rain. In Nigeria, we have in the western region of West Africa, we have what we call dry season and wet season. So now we're going through the rainy season. So in the dormitories, they're experiencing, what they call the leaking rooftops. So you can imagine going to sleep and you're experiencing rain falling on when you're sleeping. So it's that bad. So going to a classroom and you're going to study for a class credit, and you're having to study, take your notes, and it's raining in your classroom. It's that bad. So things are really terrible. This is not to say the governor or the administration is not doing what they can to develop the school. The governor is putting his car in the roads, he's creating conference centers. He's doing what he can, but of course it's not enough. We need a lot more funding to, upgrade the dormitories, upgrade the labs, upgrade more of the dormitories where the kids actually go to sleep, upgrade the classroom blocks. So even they're going into the classroom to actually study and interact with their teachers and professors and experts. These are the things that the students actually need. So these are actually the dire necessities that these kids and teachers need as far as to get the school up to compete and surpass their peers across the world and across Africa.
It sounds to me, Idonwagbe, that basic infrastructure standards are clearly non-existent at this stage. So talk to me now about your role. I think particularly within the space of education activism, you and, I'm addressing you because we're speaking to you, but your entire cohort. What is your role then in finding solutions to these matters that are clearly incredibly urgent?
So for me personally, I believe that it's not just to speak to the problem, but to also help support the government to see how we can be part of the solution. So we have to talk to even, alumni groups. How can we talk to individuals who have graduated from the Imo State University, who are working and doing very well across the world, and to come back to the school and see how they can, bring funding. Talk about grant programs. There are oil companies across the country who are like Mobil, Texaco, who are doing very well in the country and benefiting. Come to the school and be part of that solution and bring benefits back to the school. The school has different programs in petroleum engineering, so be a benefit to the school. The school has to also speak up. What are your needs assessments? List out where your programs are. List out where your needs are. Let these kids speak up, because we have a lot of brilliant children who can do a lot more if they have the capacity to, do more with a better infrastructure. So this is what we have to do, speak out on these things. So like I said, it's not fair to allow young kids between the ages of 18 and 24 to come to class and have health problems, have fear of getting sick. I mean, COVID just was a pandemic across the world, but we have malaria. We have kids who are going to have cholera. We have kids who are scared of just coming to class and getting all kinds of infected with all kinds of acute diseases. So we have to worry about all those kinds of things. So we have to stop that fear of health scares and focus on ethics. So that's what we need to do. So like I said, if we can get both the alumni get funding, as well as grant programs coming in, and government to come together and do what they're supposed to do and support programs and funding to get the school to do what it's supposed to, which is educate the children.
Have the teachers or the students, have they petitioned, protested against these conditions? What has their response been?
The governor has listened to a large extent, but there are a lot of issues, from insecurity across the state to health issues from the doctors. So there's so much he can do. But of course, we try and push education as part of the top tier things as far as the scale of preference that he needs to address. Because without education, you're not going to have doctors. You're not going to have who can bring out the best foods. So we have to keep on pushing at education as one of the top tier things he needs to address. So it just remains as our needs assessment that if you're going to bring security as one of the things you need to address this year, you need to put education on the top 2 or top 3 things. So we always have to push it out there. So like I say, it's not just the governor. We always push the government up front, but we have the private sector as well. So we are pushing the teachers to come out and speak for the students as well. The students have been coming out to speak out as well. Social media has been loud as well on the needs of these things, of what we need to achieve for the school. So, and the students have been very, very loud. Twitter has been loud. I mean, X, as you know, Facebook and Instagram, that we're talking about the need for this school to speak out. And thank God for Channel Africa. Thank you guys for even giving us this platform to speak on the school. And it's not just Imo State University. There are a lot of schools in Africa and specifically in Nigeria who need a lot more infrastructure to allow the education quality of education to raise up the bar for going to compete and surpass other schools across the world.
This is such a big issue. I mean, you mentioned, the alumni, you mentioned the funding. Obviously, at state level, there needs to be such a big intervention. So I'll give you an example with issues pertaining to South African students, right? We had a movement a couple of years ago in South Africa called Fees Must Fall, and it was a protest around, the learning conditions of students at university level, and it spread throughout the country. And there was issues around fees being too high, but other issues that were concerning students were coming up. And there was a lot of debate and a lot of violence that took place between the law enforcement and the students, and it became quite a thing. So I want to get to the issue around how it happens in Nigeria. Do you protest? What is the involvement of parents and students then at that level, at ground level, that is?
Oh, the protests oh my gosh, the protests here sometimes get really violent. Sometimes the protests get really, because the protests can go as far as getting to the vice chancellor's office. They'll, stampede everything and put things to a halt. So really, they will get the attention of the government really quickly to get what they want and get their voices heard. But the issue is not just getting your voices heard; it's getting action to take place. You see, the issue isn't just is getting what can you get done? Like we talked about the alumni funding. We need to not just get protest. It's how do we get from protest to get action, from action to get work done. So it's a step by step. Like I'm one of those people that said that, like with my project with electronic education, it's not just saying, oh, we need to do, speak. It's how do we get from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. With the infrastructure at the school, it's funding. We need to make the government understand that if we don't realize that this is how your government will realize that even with putting money in the school, you can attract funding through the private sector in the school, and at the end get more attention from the private sector, and you'll be an IGR back to the government this way. So there's so many ways to trickle down understanding between the government and the PPP, private-public partnership within a circle effect. So there's so many ways to do this. But you see, the students and the teachers have to be in understanding, because sometimes anger only results to violence.
Right.
And some students, not all students are that educated to understand that an outbreak of a public outcry of this thing will result to a result. Some of them will use this as an opportunity to rob and destroy. So you have to be very careful when you speak about protesting.
Thank you so much,
We have to be very careful, because you never know who's out there who wants to do the right and wrong thing.
Right. Thank you so much for the update. I think the next time we have a conversation, perhaps it will be a more progressive one. But all the best. I think the work that you're doing, particularly in education activism, is really necessary under the conditions as we look at Imo State University. Let's take a quick step into the sports desk to find out the latest.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And a very good afternoon from the sports desk. I am Musibu Dimakura with your latest sports news at the Sawa. So Morocco's home-based national team is hitting peak form at just the right time, recording a second consecutive friendly win ahead of the 2024 Total Energies African Nations CHAN tournament, with a strong 2-1 victory over fellow CHAN contenders Burkina Faso over the weekend. The youthful Atlas Lions are shaping up to be serious title contenders for the upcoming competition. The result also follows Morocco's 6-0 thrashing of Chad in June, and also confirms their growing momentum despite the limited preparation time. So with the CHAN tournament kicking off on the 2nd of August, co-hosted in Kenya, Tanzania as well as Uganda, the head coach of the side appears to be moulding now a cohesive as well as a confident squad that is drawn entirely from domestic talent born in 2000 or later. So the side, Morocco, are in Group A alongside the co-host Kenya, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia as well as Angola. The Lion Cubs will also face Burkina Faso once more on Thursday in their final match as part of their preparations ahead, of course, of the trip to Kenya for the competition starting officially on the 2nd of August. In women's football news now, Banyana coach Dr. Desiree Ellis praised the team's resilience after defeating Senegal to secure a spot in the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations semi-finals. South Africa defeated Senegal 4-1 on penalties. This after the match had ended goalless after the 120 minutes on Saturday night. Ellis also alluded to the good work done at training to practice penalties, and also believes they reap the rewards against the Teranga Lionesses of Senegal.
But we were confident that we had enough kickers on the pitch. Even if it went past that, we had enough kickers on the pitch, but we were also confident that Andeli would make a save or two. We just needed to do what we practiced in training, because we have so many players that can take penalties. Linda would have been the first one. Karabo then became the first one to step up, and she was also one of the walking wounded, but the courage and the resilience that this team has shown, and the never say die attitude, I cannot talk enough about that.
Also, the coach also sharing her views on the growth of the women's game on the African continent, stating that this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament is proof that most teams are ready to compete on the global stage.
It just shows how football on the African continent has improved, women's football. And hopefully it can get bigger and better and get more sponsorship and more competitions, because we have WAFCON, we have CAF Champions League, but we need more. We need more. If we're going to compete with the rest of the world, we need more. We need to be similarly to what we get at FIFA tournaments, needs to be similar here, because you're then preparing the team to go to a global event. But so far, the football has been fantastic. You asked me yesterday if I watched some of the games. Yes, I do.
For the field now, FIFA President Gianni Infantino offered the governing body's support to England defender Jess Carter after she revealed she has been the target of racist abuse during the ongoing Euros 2025 tournament. Carter, who is black, on Sunday announced that she's stepping away from social media for the duration of this year's tournament. The 27-year-old has started in all 4 of England's games at this year's tournament, but struggled in their quarter-final win over Sweden on Thursday as the Lionesses conceded first 2 half goals. Now, Football Association CEO Mark Bellingham condemned the abuse and also said the FA had been in contact with UK police, who are in touch with the relevant social media platforms to sort of ensure those responsible for this hate crime are brought to justice. European soccer governing body UEFA, Carter's club, also Gotham FC, as well as the National Women's Soccer League and the Lionesses all posted statements in support of the player. And finally, Scotty Scheffler romped to a magnificent 4-shot victory to seal his first Open Championship title at Royal Portrush on Sunday, notching his 4th major success. Now the world number 1 eased to a 3-under par final round of 68, finishing on 17 under par for the tournament. This after shooting in the 60s on all 4 days. Scheffler says this is a special win.
It's a very special feeling. It takes a lot of work to get to this point in my career, and this was a tough week. It was challenging. The golf course was playing really tough, and I had to focus very hard over the course of the weekend. And really the only blemish over the last 36 holes was the double on 8, but did a good job of kind of resetting and coming back with a birdie on 9. And I guess this one was different than the PGA in terms of had a decent lead to start the day, but PGA I felt like I struggled a bit on the front 9, and then was able to kind of push forward and win it on the back 9. Whereas this one I felt like I built up a lead. It got a little close there after the double on 8, but like I said, bounced back on 9 and was able to keep a pretty sizable lead for most of the day.
Right, so that concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibu Di Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Upside. Your afternoons just got even better.
Bantu Biko Street by Simpiwe Dana. Ndi ready. Simpiwe, 20 years in song. So what emotions come up when you hear that, hey, you've been doing this for 20 years now?
It almost feels like no time has passed, eh? I just, I know obviously time has passed, but I don't feel it. Even about my age, I'm 45. I always get shocked when I think, oh my God, in 5 years' time, I'll be 50. Because for me as an artist, it's almost like when it comes to certain things, time stands still. And as a result, you find that a lot of artists are very childlike, which, helps them to always have a fresh approach to issues.
I tell you what, I'm feeling healed just by that.
We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the Upside.
41 minutes after 1 p.m. Central African Time. Let's say good afternoon now to Buhle Headbush for business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In our top story at this hour, Zambia's finance ministry says it expects economic growth in Zambia to accelerate to 6.4% next year from 5.8% this year, driven by its mining and agriculture sectors. The Southern African country's economy is recovering from a severe regional drought, which curbed growth last year. After years of protracted debt restructuring negotiations, the finance ministry's medium-term budget plan has projected that gross domestic product will rise 6.5% in 2027 and 5.1% in 2028. The African Development Bank says it's approved a loan worth $160 million to support sustainable farming led by women and young people in Morocco. The bank says the financing is intended to boost food security and strengthen the resilience of small-scale farming against climate change, and that it particularly targeted at women who have the ambition to undertake and succeed in agriculture in Morocco. The African Development Bank has invested over $17 billion in projects including transport, water, energy, farming, governance and finance over the past 5 decades. South Africa's Fly Safair Airline Chief Marketing Officer Kirby Gordon says they're still open to negotiations with their disgruntled pilots. Fly Safair pilots who've embarked on a wage strike from today have rejected the airline's 5.7% wage increase offer, sticking to their demand of a 10.5% salary hike. The standoff threatens to disrupt flights for up to 2 weeks, jeopardizing passenger confidence. About 174 flights have been cancelled since morning. Gordon says the pilots' demands are illogical.
We remain very open to the process and we continue to negotiate in good faith, but I think to expand upon the 5.7% offer, 5.7% is on the base pay. The offer also includes a number of other remunerative structures, including bonuses and flight pay. The actual cost to company increase is 11.2%. And I reiterate, in an economy with low inflation, where banks and other significant employers are offering 4% to most employees, when you already earn a competitive salary, an 11.29% increase is unheard of in this current economy.
There's a renewed push for clean governance and ethical procurement in South Africa's Gauteng province. The Gauteng Ethics Advisory Council, together with the provincial government, is hosting a high-level engagement with leaders of organized business. The gathering, taking place in Johannesburg, marks an important step towards strengthening public-private partnerships under an Integrity Pact commitment. Social justice activist Tulima Donsela says this type of commitment will translate into better outcomes for ordinary citizens, like the faster construction of clinics.
Because the idea is, number one, the tender goes to the right person. The person commits by signing the pact as part of the tender documents. That firstly, the information they've provided about their competence is correct. The pricing is not overpriced or inflated.
Microsoft has issued an alert about active attacks on server software used by government agencies and businesses to share documents within organizations. The technology company has recommended security updates that customers should apply immediately. On Sunday, the FBI said it was aware of the attacks and is working closely with its federal and private sector partners, but offered no other details. Tracy Bumgard reports.
In an alert issued on Saturday, Microsoft said the vulnerabilities apply only to SharePoint servers used within organizations. It said that SharePoint Online in Microsoft 365, which is in the cloud, was not hit by the attacks. It said a vulnerability allows an authorized attacker to perform spoofing over a network, manipulating financial markets or agencies by hiding the actor's identity and appearing to be a trusted person, organization or website.
And now for a look at the financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,530 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 30. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shillings 71. And in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 8. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 57. Russia, 78 rubles 44. India is 86 rupees 14. China, 7 yuan 17. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 68 cents this afternoon. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,364 and platinum at $1,443 per ounce, both slightly higher from this morning, while Brent crude oil is at $69 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459 for Channel Africa Business. I am Buntle Hetbush.
Buntle, so sorry. So earlier I was like, it's Buntle Hetbush, but in all honesty, I think it's the same. Buntle.
It's the Nguni in you
it's
that
the
came
Nguni
out
in
in the
me.
moment.
So apologies, Buntle. Do you accept Buntle also, perhaps?
Apologies accepted, but it is Buntle. You know, they mean the same thing, but different languages. So just try. Please.
Apologies.
No
Ladies
problem.
and gentlemen, Buntle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Thulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Thulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Did you call me? Did you speak truth when you dug once? When you
Hello there, my name is Mmatsheko Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are on the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mmatsheko Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are on the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mmatsheko Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are on the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are on the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called
with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. How is your Monday going so far? Happy Monday, by the way, and we hope you're having a productive one. Hope that you had a great weekend. Share some tales of the weekend. What did you get up to besides watching the Springboks destroy Georgia in the rugby? What else did you get up to? Let us know on our WhatsApp line +27 63406 9126. I tell you what, you are not a big rugby fan.
No.
So you would not have watched the rugby this week. Okay, what? You said that with such passion. I don't like that.
You wouldn't like it because you are obviously on the other side, on the other side of the spectrum. You're a huge rugby fan.
100%. Yeah. Last week, you gave us the story. Remember when we did What Caught Your Eye?
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke about that CEO that got busted cheating at a concert. Mr. Brian or Byron.
What's the
Andy Byron.
Astronomer. Mr.
CEO.
Astronomer, yes.
Oh, the latest.
There's tea.
The latest
Let's sip.
is that he resigned. He resigned.
Look, I mean, that is the smart move to make because you are going to get fired. So,
but wait, why? He was in a relationship with the HR lady, HR head of HR.
Wow. That could have gone pear-shaped very quickly. Hashtag just saying.
I had to be very careful there.
Yes.
Was in a relationship. Are these grounds to fire him or are these grounds for him to resign and think, oh wow, maybe he can just declare? Can't he just declare and say, hey, I am actually in a relationship? Does he have to put his professional career on hold, or actually not even on hold, on a downward spiral like this and resign? Did he have to do that?
I think he did have to do it. He was forced. I don't think it's a matter of choice.
Mm-hmm.
He was forced if he did indeed resign, because if you put the company into disrepute, they have all the grounds to let you go, because you have publicly shamed the company, you've put it in a bad light, you've put it into disrepute. So that is enough for legal grounds to let you go. Especially considering how viral the story has gone. And I think also just with cancel culture and everything else that comes with the modern day and the internet, it really could make matters worse if you keep, a man who has engaged in infidelity to run an organization like yours. So I think the reasonable thing to do, really, to just save not only your skin but that of this organization, is to just resign, because let me tell you, they were just going to fire him. So it was coming. The dignified thing to do after you have done what he did, almost said something else, is to just resign. So just resign.
But what happens to the HR lady then? What does she do now?
That's
What does
a good
what does the
question.
board then decide is her future in the company?
That is a very good question, because she too is a decision maker.
A key decision maker. HR.
I mean, you know, she makes and breaks in there. So, that's a very good question. I don't know where that puts her.
Well, we'll have to wait and see over the next couple of days. Maybe they'll let us know what happened. But what we know right now is that the former CEO of Astronomer, has stepped down after being caught live on a kiss cam at a concert with his head of HR.
We're going to watch this one closely. But yes, I don't know. Listen, perhaps you are, really great with the legalities around these kind of matters, infidelity in the office and that sort of thing. What is likely to happen in the case of Heidi, I think her name is.
I don't know her name. I just call her HR lady.
A HR lady from Astronomer. What is most likely to happen with her? Should she also follow suit and resign to save her integrity, whatever is left of it, the 2% that's left of it? Or should she just continue and continue to hire and fire?
Continue hire and fire? Ooh, I don't think. So here's another thing. Not just is he losing out on a job, right? But his marriage is also going to be affected. Her marriage, isn't she married head of HR?
As we understand it, she's also married.
So potentially a divorce there, and then the 50-50 what sharing of assets. There's a lot. And all this from a moment captured.
A moment can.
I had no. Just stay in your relationship. If you're
lane.
unhappy, leave. It's fine. Okay, actually, it's not fine. Try and work. Work on it.
Out.
And if you can't work it out, just leave gracefully and amicably, or as amicably as possible. But don't do this. Don't do shady things like these, because now your whole life crumbles because of a moment. Anyway, we're just being spicy. Let's listen to a quick song, just to break the tension.
Here on Channel Africa, we are in your company wherever you are in the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African Time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African Time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are in the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African Time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African Time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mmatsheko Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Looking at your top stories, peace deal signed between the DRC and the M23 in Doha welcomed, and Platform X accuses French persecutors of launching a politically motivated criminal investigation. Your latest news, greetings to our listeners. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has welcomed the peace deal that's been signed between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Congo River Alliance, or M23 movement, in Doha, Qatar over the weekend. Guterres urged all those involved to ensure the swift implementation of the commitments undertaken. Meanwhile, authorities in the DRC are cracking down on senior military officials suspected of being involved in an assassination plot against President Felix Tshisekedi. The arrest includes the head of the President's Security, Frank Ntumba, and Presidential Advisor, Christian Chiwewe. Political analyst Dr. David Matsanga reports.
These are principles towards a peace agreement. I have looked through it, read them as a conflict resolution expert in the world. I think it might not hold. Why? 240 standing armies on DRC Congo. We are only concentrating on one, M23 and AFC. What about 239? They are still in Congo. So how are you going to police peace? How will you bring peace when these others are not there?
South Africa's former Deputy Judge President of the KwaZulu-Natal High Court Division, Mjabuliseni Madondo, says that traditional leaders are key in building confidence in the country's electoral democracy. Judge Madondo was the first candidate to be interviewed by a panel led by Chief Justice Mandi Zamaya to fill 3 vacancies in the Electoral Commission. The 71-year-old judge has presided over a number of high-profile cases, including the declaring of the KwaZulu-Natal's Ingonyama Trust to have acted unconstitutionally. The trust gave residential leases to the king's subjects for land the king was holding in trust on their behalf. He also dismissed a challenge for the validity of the will of the late King Goodwill Zwelithini Kabhekuzulu. Judge Madondo says he works with traditional leaders on how to run affairs pertaining to the country's laws.
In the rural area, the gate is at the leader. If you rope the leader in and they call the Mbizo and send our officers or officials to address those people, they ask questions, give them credible answers, and the complaints they lodge, you work on them in such a way that see that something is happening. That will restore the confidence.
Madondo has also said that voter apathy within South Africa's electorate can be mitigated by starting voter education at a younger age.
Voter registration must start at the schools, because a person can register at the age of 16, though have to vote at the age of 18. So if those people are exposed to the electoral process at that stage, that can help. And also, that should be corroborated with the issuing of IDs, because the people who are to do the ID, take an ID at the age of 16, and must also register.
The fourth ordinary session of the 6th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament is officially opened in Midrand, Johannesburg in South Africa. The session is being held under the African Union theme for 2025, which is Justice for Africans and People of African Descent Through Reparations. Nhlanhla reports.
The opening ceremony will be officiated by President of the Pan-African Parliament, Chief Fortune Charumbira. The event will feature a keynote address by guest of honor Professor Miguel Cesar Domingos Pembe, Ambassador of Angola in Ethiopia and Chairperson of the African Union's Permanent Representative Committee. Other guests include South Africa's Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperations, Thandi Muraga, amongst others. Reporting for Channel Africa, I am Nhlanhla Mahlangu in Johannesburg.
Lastly, Elon Musk's social media platform X says accused French prosecutors of launching a politically motivated criminal investigation that threatens its users' free speech. The social media giant also denied all allegations and says it would not comply with the probe. Earlier this month, Paris prosecutors stepped up a preliminary probe into X for suspected algorithmic bias and fraudulent data extractions, enlisting police to investigate alleged wrongdoing by the company or its executives. Recapping on your top stories, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has welcomed the peace deal signed between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Congo River Alliance March 23 movement, or the AFC M23, in Doha, Qatar over the weekend. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
And it's 7 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome to the second hour of The Upside on Channel Africa, the African Perspective, with Tebogo, Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito, coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Stream us live on our social media platforms so you can see our lovely studio and the presenters, of course, at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube, and at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. If you have DSTV, it's channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and as always, you can download that SABC Plus app on your Android or iOS device so you can take us with you wherever you go. Happy Monday yet again. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. Here's what's coming up in this hour. We talk all things Decor X. I know, Mmatsheko, this is a favorite of yours. You want to be inspired with what's happening in the latest decor trends, food, and you just want to be inspired, and that's what Decor X is all about.
Indeed. I think if it's not the biggest showcase in South Africa, it certainly is one of them. When we look at the space of deco and inspiration, like Tebogo Lekhuleni has said, there's cooking demos, it's an experience, a design experience. So if you really want to build a life by design, Decorex is for you. And if you find yourself in the South African region, that this is worth hearing about. So we're going to be catching up with the head honchos of Decorex for 2025, Alan Hayward, as well as Gareth van Niekerk, and they're going to tell us a bit more about this year's 4-day extravaganza.
It's actually happening this week, like this weekend, from Thursday up until Sunday. So listen in on this conversation so you can find out exactly how you can be a part of Decor X Johannesburg 2025. And a quick reminder, there's a brilliant documentary that's currently on the SABC platform. SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Starting 13 July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2, tune in every Sunday for the highs, the heartache, and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere. No subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
Africa at Play with NATO and ETO Chairman.
The Confederation of African Athletics, CAA President Mr. Hamad Kalkaba Malboum, talk to us about the state of athletics in Africa as it stands, and what picture are you looking at 5 years later?
Yeah, athletics in Africa is strong. We are able to organize our major events in time. Like this year, we will have the under-20 and under-18 African Championship in Nigeria. Next year, we will have the senior Belgium, in Ghana. In 2027, we will go back to Algeria to organize the under 18 and under 20. And then 2028, we will have the senior championship in Gaborone in Botswana. Well, by this program, we can increase our performance. And at the same time, we are considering the fact that within the British Federation, they are identifying young talent every year within the national program, within the scholarship championship. And so the athletics in Africa is in good standard.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
The Shy Guy, a Morning Switch.
Have you ever listened to a song and then it gives you goosebumps? Cause it takes you way back in the 80s. My goodness. Hey, baby. You hear Yvonne Chaga Chaga there. I wanna talk to the DJ. And then the DJ goes like, hey, baby, I've got you on the other side. Huh? There were no WhatsApps then, right? There were no sliding in the TMs at the time. Oh, man.
Your weekend mornings are activated with the Shy Guy on the Morning Switch. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are in the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African Time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African Time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are in the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African Time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African Time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are in the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African Time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African Time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. Hello there, my name is Mosito, and I am contributing as co-host on a show called The Upside here on Channel Africa. We are in your company wherever you are in the African region between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. in Central African Time.
Hey guys, Tebogo Lekhuleni here from the Upside team on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Join us every single weekday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central African Time for the ultimate afternoon drive show.
Bringing you lifestyle, news and views and opinion, most importantly, because that matters always, hey? So catch us on air. I, of course, work with the wonderful Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be here, so join us. TV audio bouquet that's on channel 802. Otherwise, we are streaming audio visually on Facebook as well as on YouTube. So just follow Channel Africa and you'll be able to find us there. Music, proudly South African, coming through and really just ushering us into our next conversation. Thandeka Ngema came through with Mawu featuring Deep Sen with a beautiful piece of music titled Ngilimele. Thank you very much for being here. This is The Upside with Tebogo and Mmatsheko with you until 4 p.m. in Central African Time, and we are talking all things Decorex, which has officially launched now for the year 2025, bringing a bold new energy to the world of design, deco, as well as lifestyle. So we're looking here at a 4-day affair that begins on the 24th, which is a Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay? It's
Yes,
this
ma'am.
Thursday, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, until the 27th of July at the Sandton Convention Center. And it really is known to be the vibrant hub of creativity, of innovation, and craftsmanship. So we want to find out all the good stuff about this year's edition, what it promises, the visual inspiration. I think for me, that's quite an important one. What visitors can immerse themselves in, and all this wonderful curated showrooms and the beautiful hands-on studios and live cooking shows, showrooms, as it were, that Decorex is known for. Joining us now on the line is Alan Hayward and Gareth van Niekerk, who are the executive creative directors of Decorex Africa. Okay, Decorex Africa. That should tell you how absolutely huge this is. Welcome to you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time for us. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's talk about the creative vision, if you will. Talk to us about this vision that you had for Decorex, I think particularly for the Johannesburg audience this year. What can we build on from previous years into 2025?
So this year, Decorex, we're very excited to start off Decorex. Gareth and myself being the creative directors, we have just been appointed last year, October. So this is our first Johannesburg Decorex. We just came from Cape Town Decorex a month ago. And what we're asking at Decorex this year is what the future of design will look like. So we're thinking of this kind of futuristic theme in a few different ways. We're really thinking about sustainability. We're really thinking about Africanness and collaboration. We're talking about kind of industrialization. And we're also just thinking about, all of the bits and pieces that kind of make a design world and a design industry from all the different parts. So we're very excited to have some incredible different opportunities for our designers and for our businesses that are coming onto Decorex, but also for the public in general to come see a whole lot of different things.
We are currently in conversation with the executive creative directors of Decorex Africa, Alan Hayward and Gareth van Niekerk. We continue the conversation right after this. Remember, from the 24th to the 27th of July, Decorex Joburg will be taking over Sandton Convention Center with over 350 brands and immersive showrooms. This conversation is a must listen to. Don't go anywhere.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Mosito and Tebogo Lekhuleni on the upside.
Well, Joburgers get excited about the Decorex Joburg leg of Decorex Africa taking place from the 24th to the 27th of July at the Sandton Convention Center. And to tell us a bit more about it, we are joined by Executive Creative Directors Alan Hayward and Gareth van Niekerk of Decorex Africa. Gareth, let's talk about this, the debut and the launch of the Handmade Africa Design Market. That sounds quite exciting.
Yeah, it's an amazing project and a bit of a dream come true for Alan and I. The fair is the evolution of what used to be known as the Sanlam Handmade Contemporary Fair. And over the last couple of years, it's really grown and evolved into something that has a much bigger reach across the continent. And so this year, we launched the project last year, and really it's become a sort of traveling retail installation that really works to put African design at the forefront of the global design conversation. So this year at Decorex, we partnered up with the team at Decorex and with the amazing audience and opportunities at Decorex this year. And at the market, you'll see, I think it's around 40 different traders from across the continent. And within that, you have a bit of food, you have a bit of fashion, lots of homeware. And it's just, I think, a really cool chance to meet some of the makers in person and go home with a little bag of something cute and luxurious.
Okay, we're there for that. We're not complaining about that for sure. Okay, I'm really interested in the feminine aspect, which is very exciting. As I understand it, Bilala Mabuza is going to be a part of the showcase, and we know her name is synonymous with femininity within the space of design, sensibility. I think it's so beautiful to see how Decorex is kind of spotlighting women in the business of design. So talk to us about those elements as well.
Yeah, so we have a feature called the Future of Women in Design, and I think we have 8 incredible women that are manufacturers and interior designers and business owners, and we will be spotlighting them this year on their own standalone stand, which will be on the 100% design floor, level 2. And kind of the idea is, there are so many women in our industry that do such incredible work, as well as in Decorex. I mean, Decorex, our team is mainly made out of some incredible women on our team, and it's really just a celebration of all of those women doing it. We shot this campaign with Sarah DePina, who's one of the best interiors and lifestyle photographers, and she is one of the women that will be featured. And then we have Mpho Vakias of the Urban Native, Myra Kutsadakis of Life Interiors, and then a whole lot of other incredible women, but it will be right in the front of 100% design, so you cannot miss it.
I think what's beautiful is that, like you say, Bilala is such an icon, and it's such an important thing for her to put women at the forefront of the conversation as well. And so she's specifically taken this project on herself, and it's been in the works for many years. And so it's a real, I suppose, a big realization of a dream for her and all the women who are part of this sort of collective who are working to make more opportunities for other women in the industry.
And Alan, I'm going to throw this one to you. When we think of luxury, we often think very expensive. Hey, only the elitists can afford anything of a luxurious nature. How are you going about changing that narrative and balancing luxury with accessibility, especially on the African continent?
I think that, luxury is a weird thing. Some people think that, materials make luxury. Some people think that, you have to go into a certain name brand store to get it. But, for me, things are luxurious when they've taken time and care into it. And what we've done this year with Decorex is we have featured a lot of beautiful hand weavers, beaders, wire workers, people that do incredible luxurious things with their hands, that are part of our culture, and people are doing it in a different way, putting, weaving on chairs, putting, beautiful screens together. So, my feeling is that there are lots of ways to express luxury in your interiors and in your space, and we will have quite a wide range of things at Decorex talking about different types of luxury. And I really think pure luxury is speaking about yourself, where you come from, what your travels are, and that's what we hope to be exposing to people to at Decorex.
I think it's also just so beautiful, gentlemen, to note that as the creative head honchos, the both of you are now also going to be debuting the Homemade Africa design. I think that's what it's called. Please tell us a little bit more about that. It sounds like a fascinating concept. I think for those that are already within the space of design, this is definitely something to check out, hey?
Yeah, so I think we kind of touched on the Capitec Handmade Africa market, but I think the one that you're kind of excited about is the Handmade Africa Pavilion, which is in 100% design, and it's this huge, quite a very immersive experience with 11 or actually 13 designers in Joburg, 11 designers from across the continent, people from Morocco, people from Botswana, people from Namibia, South Africans living in America and Berlin. And I think they've come together on one stand, and we've kind of curated it into something quite experimental, interesting kind of way of looking at how to show pieces. And what's amazing is you can buy a lot of the stuff. But it's all the best and biggest names in the business, and they've all come to Decorex for one incredible weekend. And if you've ever wanted to see these works, one of the most exciting pieces on the show is we're working with a lady called Sinagugu, and she's based in the Valley of 1,000 Hills in KZN. And she's got a project called Bambi Zulu, which works with, I think it's thousands of rural weavers. And she's created these brooms for us. I'm personally quite obsessed with brooms. I think they're a really amazing design object.
I love
but
that.
she's dyed this crazy pink, and the brooms are called the shasha brooms for the sound they make when they're on the floor. And it's just we put thousands of them up on the wall, and it's just such fun. That's the Instagram moment of Decorex. I think people are going to really like it.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. I tell you what, I'm also excited about. Alan, and perhaps you can touch on this one. 27 Interiors Full Apartment Showcase. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so what we've tried to do is we've tried to look at different ways and modes of living. So one of the things is obviously micro living and micro apartments.
Yeah.
So what we tried to do is give different interior designers a space to kind of reimagine what these kind of micro spaces are. So, the thing is that just being a student isn't the only kind of micro space that there could be. What we said is that, you could be a student and have a student apartment, but then you could be a business person, that has a little place in the city, which might be a micro apartment or somewhere that you're working, further from home. Then we also looked at retirement, people going into retirement as a kind of micro living space. And then, of course, micro work as well. So, what we did is we've done the project twice, once in Cape Town and once in Joburg. And the interior designers that are attached will be doing kind of what can you do in a small little space, and, what are the ways to make things that are small and humble into a luxurious space that people will enjoy.
It sounds absolutely amazing, and I don't think talking about it is enough. I think we all need to just grab a front row seat and go check it out for ourselves. Please just, let's keep it pithy. We've literally got a few seconds. Where can we get tickets if we'd like to check it out?
So you can go on decorex.co.za. The tickets are 160 for adults online, 170 at the door. Pensioners 120 Rand. Kids under 12 are free. Kids 12 to 16 are 50 Rand. And if you want the VIP experience, which is basically everything that you can get, that is 390 Rand. And I think that's for all 5 days. So yeah, come and see us. There's lots of amazing things happening.
Oh,
Can't wait to see you guys.
We can't wait to
I'm
see
coming,
you.
for sure.
We're gonna
Oh, my
be there.
goodness.
And
Gonna be there.
and Gareth, just a parting shot.
Yeah.
You've got such a soothing voice. I'm not saying Alan, you don't, but Gareth, you've got such a soothing voice. You must do audiobooks, please. All right. It is 30 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. The creatives, the executive creative directors of Decorex Africa, Alan Hayward and Gareth van Niekerk, saying to you, check out the Sandton Convention Center this week from the 24th to the 27th of July for Decorex Joburg Leg. Decorex.co.za is where you can find information and get your tickets. Musibudi Makura is standing by with sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And a very good afternoon from the sports desk. Banyana head coach Dr. Desiree Ellis is hoping fatigue doesn't come into play as she prepares her team for the titanic clash against Nigeria in the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations semi-finals to be played at the Labri Zawule Stadium on Tuesday. Now, South Africa as well as Senegal could not be separated after 120 minutes in their quest in their quarter-final tie that was played over the weekend, and the defending champions marched following a 4-1 win on penalties. It was also the first time that Ellis' side failed to get onto the score sheet, although they kept another clean sheet, their third in 4 matches, with goalkeeper Andile Dlamini yet to concede a single goal, having not played in the 1-1 draw against Tanzania. So the Women's Africa Cup of Nations 2022 winners are now unbeaten in their last 10 games at the Continental Showpiece, and Ellis insist they know what it takes to beat the Super Falcons after knocking them out at the same stage about 3 years ago. However, she has raised concerns about tired legs as her players only have 2 days to recover, while they have had to travel as well 697 kilometers to get from Ojua to the city of Casablanca for this match that is coming up tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Central African time. Meanwhile, Ellis praised the team's resilience after defeating Senegal on penalties over the weekend. Ellis also alluded to the good work done at training to practice penalties, and also believes they reaped the rewards against the Lionesses of Teranga.
We were confident that we had enough kickers on the pitch. Even if it went past that, we had enough kickers on the pitch, but we were also confident that Andile would make a save or 2. We just needed to do what we practiced in training, because we have so many players that can take penalties. Linda would have been the first one. Karabo then became the first one to step up, and she was also one of the walking wounded, but the courage and the resilience that this team has shown, and the never say die attitude, I cannot talk enough about that.
At the same time, Ellis also spoke about the growth of the women's football game on the African continent, also stating that this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament is indeed proof that most teams are ready to compete on the global stage.
It just shows how football on the African continent has improved, women's football. And hopefully it can get bigger and better and get more sponsorship and more competitions, because we have WAFCON, we have CAF Champions League, but we need more. We need more. If we're going to compete with the rest of the world, we need more. We need to be similarly to what we get at FIFA tournaments needs to be similar here, because you're then preparing the team to go to a global event. But so far, the football has been fantastic. You asked me yesterday if I watched some of the games. Yes, I do.
For the field now, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta says he's 100% sure the club followed the right processes when dealing with former midfielder Thomas Partey, who was under police investigation for multiple counts of rape while he was playing for the club. The Ghanaian midfielder, 32 years of age, left Arsenal at the end of his contract on the 30th of June, and 4 days later was charged with 5 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual assault. The offences are reported to have taken place in 2021 and in 2022, the Metropolitan Police said in a statement on the 4th of July. Now, the charges involve 3 women with 2 counts of rape relating to 1 woman, 3 counts of rape in connection to the 2nd woman, and 1 count of sexual assault linked to the 3rd woman. Partey denies the charges and welcomes the opportunity to finally clear his name. That's according to his lawyer. Now, detectives started an investigation in February of 2022 after police first received a report of rape. Arsenal are in Singapore, by the way, for the pre-season tour, They'll play AC Milan and Newcastle United before travelling to Hong Kong to play Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, Arteta was also asked in a news conference before they play Milan on Wednesday about the situation on Partey, and that's when, of course, he said that he believed that the club had done enough to make sure, of course, that they followed the right processes when dealing with this matter. And finally, in tennis news, Venus Williams will make her return from a 16-month layoff at this week's Washington, D.C. Open. The 7-time Grand Slam singles champion saying on Sunday she's not sure of anything beyond that. Now, the 45-year-old American overcame a serious health scare just last year, and after enjoying a visit to Wimbledon just a few weeks ago, decided to accept a wild card in the U.S. Capital Tournament, the first hard-court tune-up ahead of the U.S. Open competition. Now, Venus Williams, a 2000 Sydney Olympic singles champion, has won 5 Wimbledon titles and is a 2-time U.S. Open champion. The most recent of her 49 WTA titles came in 2019 at the Taiwan Open. That was the last year that she played a full tour schedule. It's 14:36 p.m. Central African Time. That's a wrap of your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibu D. Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Hawa wa Afrika Kusini wenye asili ya kizungu ambao wamepewa ukimbizi huko nchini Marekani. Je, nini chanzo cha wao kuomba ukimbizi nchini Marekani?
Wenyewe wajaomba ukimbizi. Kuna shirika fulani inaitwa AfriForum, shirika mbili za wazungu ambao wanatetea haki ya wazungu hapa, AfriForum na Solidarity. Hao walienda Marekani kufanya kampeni kusema kwamba wazungu wananyanyaswa hapa Afrika Kusini, na walivyofanya hiyo kampeni, serikali iweze kuwafuatilia kujua nini ambacho mnasema kwamba mnanyanyaswa.
Kuna namna ya wao kwamba wamepoteza uraia wa Afrika Kusini, na je, endapo Trump akamaliza muda wake madarakani, uhalali wao wa kuishi nchini Marekani ukoje?
Itakuwa vigumu, kifupi itakuwa vigumu wenyewe kupoteza uraia wao.
Darubini ya Afrika 11 kamili hadi 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
It's now 37 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African Time. Let's hand over the mic now to Buntle Headbush for business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Tebogo, and thanks for the correct pronunciation this time. Good afternoon. In our top business story, Zambia's finance ministry says it expects economic growth in Zambia to accelerate to 6.4% next year from 5.8% this year, driven by its mining and agriculture sectors. The southern African country's economy is recovering from a severe regional drought, which curbed growth last year after years of protracted debt restructuring negotiations. Lebogang Mabange reports.
The Zambian government says it will focus on increasing electricity supply from power sources like solar, given the severe impact the drought had on hydropower generation and productivity in major industries. It projects that the production of key export copper will be just over 1 million metric tons next year, 1.2 million metric tons in 2027, and more than 1.3 million tons in 2028. President Hakainde Hichilema's government has been trying to lift copper output and is aiming for close to 1 million tons this year after strong first quarter production.
South Africa's Minister of Small Business Development, Stella Ndabeni, has described the opening of the first ever Global SME Startup 20 ministerial meeting in Johannesburg as a historic milestone. Ndabeni underscored that the country's role as the first African presidency of the G20 on the continent presents a unique opportunity to shape global priorities through the lens of Africa and the Global South. Minister Ndabeni also acknowledged the important leadership of Brazil and India in advancing the Startup 20 engagement, affirming South Africa's commitment to driving innovation, inclusive growth, and greater political recognition for small businesses worldwide.
This marks a historic milestone as the first African presidency of the G20 in the African continent, an opportunity to shape global priorities through lens of the Global South and of Africa in particular. We take up this responsibility with deep appreciation, recognizing the exceptional leadership of Brazil before us, as the chair of the Startup 20 did mention, and of India, who came before Brazil, in launching and nurturing the Startup 20 engagement group.
The African Development Bank says it's approved a loan worth $116 million to support sustainable farming led by women and young people in Morocco. The bank says the financing is intended to boost food security and strengthen the resilience of small-scale farming against climate change, and that it's particularly targeted at women who have the ambition to undertake and succeed in agriculture in Morocco. The African Development Bank has invested over $17 billion in projects including transport, water, energy, farming, governance and finance over the past 5 decades. South Africa's Fly Safair Airline Chief Marketing Officer Kirby Gordon says they're still open to negotiations with their disgruntled pilots. Fly Safair pilots, who've embarked on a wage strike from today, have rejected the airline's 5.7% wage increase offer, sticking to their demand of a 10.5% salary hike. The standoff threatens to disrupt flights for up to 2 weeks, jeopardizing passenger confidence. About 26 of 174 flights have been cancelled since morning. Gordon says the pilots' demands are illogical.
We remain very open to the process and we continue to negotiate in good faith, but I think to expand upon the 5.7% offer, 5.7% is on the base pay. The offer also includes a number of other remunerative structures, including bonuses and flight pay. The actual cost to company increase is 11.29%. And I reiterate, in an economy with low inflation, where banks and other significant employers are offering 4% to most employees, when you already earn a competitive salary, an 11.29% increase is unheard of in this current economy.
Microsoft has issued an alert about active attacks on server software used by government agencies and businesses to share documents within organizations. The technology company has recommended security updates that customers should apply immediately. On Sunday, the FBI said it is aware of the attacks and is working closely with its federal and private sector partners, but offered no other details. Tracy Bumgard reports.
In an alert issued on Saturday, Microsoft said the vulnerabilities apply only to SharePoint servers used within organizations. It said that SharePoint Online in Microsoft 365, which is in the cloud, was not hit by the attacks. Its vulnerability allows an authorized attacker to perform spoofing over a network, manipulating financial markets or agencies by hiding the actor's identity and appearing to be a trusted person, organization or website.
And after a look at the indicators, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,530 naira. In Botswana, it's 13.30. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shillings 71, and in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 8. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 57. Russia, 78 rubles 54. India, 86 rupees 14. China, it's 7 yuan 17, and South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 68 cents this afternoon. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,364 and platinum at $1,443 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $69 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bundle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mokwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can only get it on the Upside. Every weekday, 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. People. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palisa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Lekhuleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m., 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some Lucifer knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa.
Hey guys, so it's about 30 minutes before we have to go onto the show and go live, and we're just having our own little briefing session with the team. We've got our producer in the background, Mmatsheko. We've got my amazing co-host, Mmatsheko Mosito.
Also, I'm not amazing.
We've got Mmatsheko that side. And we just, just getting our ducks in a row for the show. Once we go live, there's no telling.
Malehloka Hlalele, representing the Mountain Kingdom of Lesotho, and she is actually based here in South Africa, and she's just amazing at being able to pray for the collective. This song is a fine example of that. Beautiful affirmations coming through in the song titled Ke tlo fihla, which means I too will get there. So perhaps you have a dream. Listen, it is possible. Malé is just here to remind you of that. We're 10 minutes away from 3 p.m. Central African time. Tebogo just wanted to agree there and say,
Even you will arrive at your own time. Don't chase other people's timelines. There's nothing wrong nowadays, being 35 and starting your first job. Actually, maybe there's something wrong there. But 35 and buying your first house, getting married at 40. Nowadays, working on your own timelines. If it feels right for you, it will find its way. You will get there. Don't put pressure on yourself unnecessarily. There's my Monday motivation for the week.
And we love it. If you can hear me, can anybody hear me?
Wait,
I sound like a mouse.
they can't hear you.
I don't know.
I can hear you. Can I say hi?
Can you hear me? Okay. Our good brother can hear me on the other side.
That's
okay,
good.
so we've got what? Okay, you've got to say it.
It's 10 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African time. We're going to take a quick breather. When we get back, it's time for What Caught Your Eye?
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can only get it on the Upside. Every weekday, 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
It's 9 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African time, and it's time for What Caught Your Eye? I think we need a whole sting for that, and music and confetti, everything. Here's what caught my eye.
Tell us.
This afternoon. You know that phrase, DJ, we wanna party.
And everybody say, DJ, we wanna party.
More. Right? Tyler was being interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
South African superstar.
Our Tyler.
Grammy Award winning.
Oh, our Tyler. Yes.
That's the same Tyler. She was... It was an interview where she was talking about her upcoming mixtape called We Wanna Party. And in not so many words, she said that the phrase We Wanna Party actually originated in South Africa. And boy, did it break internet, because now there are people, especially in West Africa, Nigeria, saying, this song has been used, this phrase has been used everywhere. It originated from the West African region. It's been used in Afro beats, artists like Abo Rema, what. So Tyler mustn't come and say that it originated in South Africa. Don't take my words for it. Here's Tyler saying that we wanna party originated in South Africa.
I've been on this tip of just enjoying life, not just partying, but just enjoyment, with people that I love, with people that are a vibe, So We Wanna Party is actually a South African chant. So we've been using it forever, and it's been a thing, for hyping up people and just that feeling of enjoyment. So I thought it was perfect for the mixtape because the music screams We Wanna Party.
Did I do it in the rock? Because I'm Congolese, so I don't know if South Africa's, we're different, because I had to move my waist when I was doing We Wanna Party. Did I do it the right way?
You did it the perfect way.
All right,
There we go. There's Tyler, not so many words, saying, hey, the chant, we wanna party, originated from South Africa. What are your sentiments on that? What do you think?
Well, she could be onto something, She could be onto something. There we go. Now I am live. Because, look, when they speak about the fact that, the Afrobeat legends, I'm guessing they're talking about the Fela Kutis of this world, used to use that phrase. Yeah. I don't know the history, but if we are going to take it back there, Let's think about how people like South Africa's Brahuma Sekela was good friends with Fela Kuti. So maybe he took that phrase to West Africa. I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know the history. It would be very interesting for us to get Tyler for an interview, actually, and for her to give us the history, according to her understanding. Because she's a very intelligent woman.
Yes.
Tyler's a very intelligent, smart girl, and she's got a good grasp on what's happening, especially in her industry in music. So I wouldn't want to hear this from a historian. I wouldn't want to hear this from some American guy who knows everything about Africa. I want to hear it from Tyler herself, because I think she's got the files. And we want the exclusive. Madam Producer, we want the exclusive, actually.
We want Tyler to come
want
and
a party.
explain. But listen, now we are fighting online again on social media. It's Nigeria versus South Africa. I know, it originated in Nigeria. No, it originated in South Africa. Where do you think the phrase, we want a party, where do you think it originated from? Let us know on our TikTok live or TikTok account. It's at Channel Africa 1, and on social media at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. Or alternatively, send us a voice note, +2763 406 9126. Madam Mmatsheko, what caught your eye?
Well, today is a very significant day if we are to look at African history and the political calendar thereof, because it was on this day, the 21st of July, in the year 1960, when Ghana was transitioning from being a British colony to becoming a republic. And the man who declared Ghana a republic was the first president of the nation, Kwame Nkrumah. So that is a big moment in history, I think, considering where Ghana came from and where Nkrumah took the country, as it were. Because what does it mean to shift from colonial to becoming a republic? It means that the country became more sovereign. It became independent. Their own rules came into play. So it's a very important part of our Pan-African history. And also, just to note the fact that continental liberation and colonial rule then became a thing of the past, considering what heads of states like Kwame Nkrumah were able to achieve back in 1960. So I thought we would acknowledge that on this day, 21st of July in 1960, Ghana officially became the Republic of Ghana, thanks to Kwame Nkrumah.
Wasn't Kwame one of the major advocates, you can correct me if I'm wrong, major advocates for having a United States of Africa? Yes, we had the Gaddafis, all the world also weighed in on that. But wasn't Kwame also one of those who said, actually, let's have a United States of Africa. We become one.
Yeah, how I understand the history, he's definitely one of the people that championed a borderless Africa. And he said it in many different places and spaces, including on international platforms like the United Nations, where he spoke about the benefits of a more united continent, a borderless Africa. The ideas around a borderless Africa, stem from the West Africans largely, and then it filtered through to other heads of state, like Nelson Mandela was also a big advocate for that. Another one, we need to trace the origins of that. But he was definitely
who said we want a United States of Africa?
Who said it first?
Who said it first?
But actually, now that we're noting that, it actually really doesn't matter. I think just the fact that
it really doesn't.
People that were at the forefront of liberation, of continental unity, of building the African continent, whoever they were at the time, it is important for us to just acknowledge them as a collective. Because if I were to use the musical metaphor, when we're all singing in a choir and we're all singing in one voice, it really doesn't matter who's singing what. At the end of the day, we're all one voice at the end of the day. So a united Africa, let's go for it.
How melodious is that? How melodious.
How harmonious.
How harmonious is that? It's not a cacophony. It's not a cacophony of sounds. It's melodious. I'm sorry. I learned a word a couple of days ago, so I was like, I must plug it in. I must plug it in wherever I get an opportunity. It's not a cacophony of sounds. It's
literally
a melody.
going to buy you a packet of sweets for that. That was brilliant. Oh my goodness. Okay, we are literally a few seconds away from taking a news bulletin. Let's take a quick promo. We'll be back.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126 and contribute to the conversation. Your afternoons just got even better, fresh and exciting. The Upside, hooking you up with today's news from an African perspective.
Just after 3 p.m. in Central African time, we're going to be talking to a techpreneur or tech entrepreneur, if you want to use the full term. We're really going to look at her company that she established, which really is about gifting through investment. Very, very important. But there's such a beautiful novelty in the story. So stay with us. After 3 p.m., we're going to get into that. Right now, though, it's 3 on the dot. Onelin Zinzi has the latest in the world.
SABC News. The African perspective.
Thank you, Mmatsheko. Looking at your top stories, prominent Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi is released on bail, and a Bangladeshi Air Force training jet crashes into a school campus. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. The prominent Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi has been released on bail after being charged with illegal possession of ammunition linked to protests last month in which at least 19 people were killed. His arrest, and especially the suggestion that he would face terrorism charges, sparked a wave of condemnation, with human rights groups denouncing it as aimed at suppressing opposition voices. Mwangi denied all the accusations against him as he appeared in court today. Fellow activists and supporters who had gathered to show their solidarity and support sang the national anthem. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has welcomed the peace deal signed between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 rebels in Doha, Qatar over the weekend. Guterres urged all those involved to ensure the swift implementation of the commitments undertaken. Meanwhile, authorities in the DRC are cracking down on senior military officials suspected to be involved in an assassination plot against President Felix Tshisekedi. The arrests include the head of the President's Security, Frank Ntumba, and presidential advisor Christian Chiwewe. Political analyst Dr. David Matsanga explains.
These are principles towards a peace agreement. I have looked through it, read them as a conflict resolution expert in the world. I think it might not hold. Why? 240 standing armies on DRC Congo. We are only concentrating on one, M23 and AFC. What about 239? They are still in Congo. So how are you going to police peace? How will you bring peace when these others are not there?
Global health leaders, policymakers and advocates will gather in Maputo from tomorrow for the 2025 Innovation and Action for Immunization and Child Survival Forum. The high-level event, hosted by the government of Mozambique and Sierra Leone, aims to boost access to life-saving vaccines and end preventable child deaths in sub-Saharan Africa. UNICEF's Chief of Child Health and Nutrition, Maike Arts, explains.
And the reason why we're doing this now is that we are only 5 years away from 2030 when we want to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. And there has been a lot of progress in reducing deaths and particularly preventable deaths in newborns and children under 5 years of age. But still today and every day, there are 13,000 children who die before they reach their 5th birthday. Now we know what we need to do to prevent those deaths and also to treat most of the diseases that children die of. But we're not doing enough yet to make sure that every child receives those preventive measures and receives the treatment in time.
South Africa's former Deputy Judge President of the KwaZulu-Natal High Court Division, Mjabuliseni Madondo, says that traditional leaders are key in building confidence in the country's electoral democracy. Judge Madondo was the first candidate to be interviewed by a panel led by Chief Justice Mandisa Maya to fill 3 vacancies in the Electoral Commission. The 71-year-old judge has proceeded over a number of high-profile cases, including declaring the Zulu Kings Ingonyama Trust to have acted unconstitutionally. The trust gave residential leases to the king's subjects for land and was holding in trust on their behalf. He also dismissed a challenge for the validity of the will of the late King Goodwill Zwelithini. Judge Madondo says he works with traditional leaders on how to run affairs pertaining to the country's laws.
In the rural area, the gate is at the leader. If you rope the leader in and they call the Imbizo and send our officers or officials to address those people, they ask questions, give them credible answers, and the complaints they lodge, you work on them in such a way that see that something is happening. That will restore the confidence.
Lastly, at least 19 people have died with 164 injured after a Bangladeshi Air Force training jet crashed into a school campus in the capital, Dhaka. Footage from Milestone School and College in the northern suburb of Utara shows a huge fire and thick smoke after the aircraft slammed into a two-story building. The armed forces said in a statement on Facebook that the F-7 jet experienced a mechanical fault after taking off for a training exercise just after lunchtime. More than 50 people, including children and adults, have been taken to hospital with burns. Now, recapping on your top stories, prominent Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi has been released on bail after being charged with illegal possession of ammunition linked to protests last month, in which at least 19 people were killed. Now, for any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Tsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Well, it's 7 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. It's the final hour of The Upside on Channel Africa, the African Perspective, with Tebogo, Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito, with you all the way to 4 p.m. Central African time. We are still coming to you live from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. Happy Monday. How's your day going so far? We have made it. Yes, we've made it through yet another Monday. Exciting.
Listen, it really is an achievement to get through the Monday. If you can get through the start of the week in this manner, then it should be smooth sailing. I don't see why it shouldn't be for the rest of the week.
Oh, no, it's exciting. And we are excited to have you join us on The Upside. Catch us on our social media platform at Channel Africa on Facebook, YouTube, or at Channel Africa 1 on TikTok. We are live there. Check out our studio, the presenters, of course, or alternatively, check us out on DSTV Channel 802, OpenView Channel 628, or download the SABC Plus app on your Android or iOS device. Coming up in this hour, we talk all things Youth X by Nedbank. There's a Youth X Award coming up, creating an ecosystem for young people, entrepreneurs, unlocking their potential through mentorship. I know that Nedbank also does financial tool equipping entrepreneurs, because the entrepreneurs are the future. If we're going to eradicate unemployment in South Africa and Africa, we need more entrepreneurs, and we need those red tapes to reduce. All those barriers to entry for them must be eliminated so that entrepreneurs can go about creating opportunities and creating solutions for their communities, and also creating job opportunities, reducing unemployment. I said a mouthful there, but the gist of it is that we're trying to eradicate unemployment, and YouthX Awards is part of that movement, and that's very exciting.
Thank you, Honorable Tebogo.
Thank you very much. That was a
Thank
lot.
you.
I
You
said
can
a
take
lot.
a seat.
I'm going to take a whole break.
I think it's safe to call this hour a business hour for the upside, because we're also going to be talking to a techpreneur, Sibongile Maputla, who is reshaping the way families think about gifts and money with the launch of Squirrel Away. It really is about gifting through investment, which is so important. I think also just under the circumstances of the current economy, as we see it not only in South Africa but across the African region and the globe, this is one important conversation. So stay with us. We are 10 minutes into 3 p.m. Central African time.
Listen. Squirrel Away. It's an interesting tagline. We'll find out about that line later on during the show. That conversation is actually coming up next. And a quick reminder that SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Starting 13 July at 7:30 p.m. Central African time on SABC2. Tune in every Sunday for the highs, the heartache, and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere. No subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African time on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa in business on Channel Africa.
The president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badea, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, he is vying for the presidency of the African Development Bank, the AFDB. He positions himself as a fervent defender of economic integration and structural transformation on the African continent.
So I do believe that I have a 360 view of the development challenges in the continent with my experience from both the supply side and the demand side. But more importantly, my vision is to bring on board all the stakeholders and to have a holistic approach for the development of the continent and to develop partnership across the continent and outside. Bringing all the stakeholders together to work for one goal is to make Africa green for life and livelihood of the African population.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can get it on the upside.
Make mistakes, we make them on air. But we try our best to prepare and ensure that we don't do that when we go on. And when we do, and we laugh about it, guys, we're only human. But this is how it looks like when we're just getting ready for the show. Enjoy. Here we go. Mix. Let's go. Come on. Let the creative juices flow.
The tree, what's at the bottom of it?
The root.
Thank you. If I'm not excited, like I'm just sitting around, I have nothing to do.
Bored.
Thank you. If it's not mist, it's
Mist.
Mist. If it's not mist in the morning, you can't see the road. It's like a cloud.
Bright and early in the morning.
Like in the
sometimes your brain experiences.
It rhymes with dog.
fog.
Thank you. I don't know this one.
Which one is this one, guys? Guys, come on.
What is this? When I'm doing this,
Gun
thank
shooting.
you. Yeah, those. Yeah. You're so
funny.
Thank you.
Alright.
Nice and easy, clean. Don't forget what caught your eye at 22.
Yes.
And then yeah, we're good.
Fantastic.
23, my love.
Oh, okay. Show your name on that.
Re kene ka intro ile. Yeah.
Yo. Coming to you all the way from the Auckland Park Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa, this glorious Thursday afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are live on our social media platforms at Channel Africa on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, if you have DSTV, it's 802 OpenView channel 628. Download the SABC Plus app so you can take us with you wherever you go. Good afternoon to you, Mmatsheko. How are you doing this afternoon?
My dearest, I am happy that you got the memo that this show is wearing black today. Our social media specialist is wearing black.
Excellent.
Our madam producer is in black. You are in black. I'm in black. I love it for us.
Black.
All black.
We actually need to do a photo shoot.
And actually,
After the
a
show.
group photo.
group
Yeah,
photo.
with all black elephant. I couldn't wait to say that because as soon as you just say it as a word, something happens in the universe. Such beautiful music coming through. Yanya coming through with One Side, the title of the song. Welcome to the Upside. If you've just tuned in, otherwise, if you've been with us since 1 p.m., we appreciate you. We really appreciate you. This is us broadcasting live throughout the African region. We're on satellite. We're also live streaming audio visually on Facebook as well as YouTube. My name is Mmatsheko Mosito. His name is Tebogo Lekhuleni, and we are very happy to be with you in this final hour of the show and to get this Monday afternoon started right before we talk all things business just after 4 p.m. So we're looking at the space of techpreneurship, but also what that looks like when we talk innovation, when we talk gifting, when we talk investment. You know, very exciting conversation we're about to have with a South African techpreneur. Her name is Sibongile Maputla. She is reshaping, if we can use that word, reshaping the way families are going to start thinking about gifts and money with the launch of a beautiful platform that she calls Squirrel Away. This is the country's first investment gifting app. So instead of gifting the normal toys, you know, the vouchers, the normal stuff that we usually do as parents. And sometimes we're a little bit lazy. We buy an outfit, a T-shirt, you know, the simple stuff, which is all fine, good and well. But you really can raise the bar in terms of how you gift your child, and you can give them a financial gift instead, which really is also about securing their future, starting them off on a small investment and then building up from there. So Sibongile is going to be joining us on the line. I believe she's already on the line with us as we talk about starting your child's future by really gifting them through investment. Sibongile, a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. I love the passion in your voice. Let's talk about just the idea. I think conceptually very, very strong. But as a mother, what specific challenges did you see when it comes to families and gifting children, but also wanting to make the child happy, but also thinking about their future?
Okay. Yeah, I think, Squirrel Away is really, it came about from being a parent myself. I'm a parent to two kids, 10-year-old and now 5 years. So I've been around a little bit on this thing, and I've experienced quite a number of lots of milestones and birthdays. And really, to be honest, it's the amount of toys that we receive and the amount of, things that are just used for a day or two. They're either broken or, my son likes to open up and see what's inside, and the interest is gone. And I mean, not forgetting the clutter that comes with it as well. You've got a room full of toys that are never, ever, ever used. So that's essentially where this, innovation came about, when I was like, surely there must be a better way of gifting. We can use, these proceeds in a very responsible way. I think that's really where it came from, me being a parent. And I think also as well, being, in the financial services, I think it just fell into, it just connected. It just felt right to do it, So yeah, that's really where it comes from. It comes from me as a parent being frustrated by the clutter, being frustrated by the amount of toys and the amount of, gifting that we get. That's all short-term based, short-lived. So I thought, let's create something that can have long-term value for the future, for our future generations.
It's 20 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. We're currently in conversation with the founder of Squirrel Away, an investment gifting app for families. Her name is Mmatsheko. We'll continue the conversation right after this.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
OK. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can get it on the upside.
Well, what if instead of another toy or voucher, your child received a piece of their financial future as a gift? Well, that is now a reality with Squirrel Away, the very first investment gifting app for families. And we are joined on the line by the founder, Mmatsheko. Spongile, let's talk about how the app actually works. Many parents are now excited, family members are excited. Okay, I can actually invest in my child, godson, niece's future. But how does the app actually work? Does this money accumulate, gain interest over time? How does it work?
Yes. So it's simple. We've just recently launched, so we're on our phase 1 of launching. So any money that's deposited into the Squirrel Away account, it gets saved and it receives 6%. So Tebogo, let's say you want to send 10 rands to me. You can send that 10 rands to me, and that 10 rand will earn 6% as well. I am an authorized financial services provider, so that's why I'm able to, because of the type of account that I can open as an authorized FSP. So your 100 rands that you deposit will earn 6% per annum as well. So yes, it does accumulate. You will be earning interest on a month-to-month basis. You'll receive statements showing what what interest you've earned. That's our phase 1, which is actually live right now. So if you go to the app, into App Store, Google App Store or iOS, you can download and start playing around with the app. And then our phase 2, which is coming later in the year, that's when we'll be integrating our investment offering. With the investment offering, then we'll be offering ETFs, which is your exchange-traded funds. We'll have unit trusts there as well. So then it gets to a point where if you want to gift my daughter, there's happy birthday, here's 200 rand. It gets auto-invested. So the guardian would have pre-populated, if I receive gifts, this must go into this particular portfolio. Could be, an ETF like a JSE Top 40 as an example. Then when that money comes in, then it gets auto-invested. So there's no middleman involved. It's really straightforward. You don't have to go to banks and deposit the cash, or you don't have to change. So we've tried to build something that's really simple. You don't need to be a finance expert to really use our app.
Man, this excites me on so many levels, because I'm thinking particularly around Generation Alpha. So the children born between the year 2010 and 2025 are really going to benefit from this. My firstborn is definitely a Generation Alpha, and she's like in the earlier years of this particular cohort. She was born in 2014. And I'm just thinking, I'm thinking the conversation then it shifts the conversation in our home then about gifting, and instead of talking about toys and dresses and shoes and that sort of thing, we can now talk about investment. And then that conversation is going to shift between mum and daughter and dad to daughter and friends, and then they're going to start having this conversation. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how this app is actually going to start not only shifting the parents and how they look at gifting, but also shift conversation and mindsets that is going to move through this generation as well, and how they think.
No, absolutely. I mean, let me just start by I'll give a bit more insights into the vision and, what I'm thinking. But just to give you as an example, while I was still doing my research, trying to, am I really going to invest in doing this app? Am I really going to go for it? So what happened is my son, born in 2014 as well, when he was 8, very academic, likes his sciences, and into Elon Musk at the time, before Elon Musk went politician. But anyway, conversation for another day. So he was really obsessed about Elon Musk, and also he was an alumni from the school that is at, a primary school that is at. So he was really into space and building rockets and all of that. And then for his birthday, I decided, you know what, let me just actually get him one share, because it was $110. Let me just get him one share of Tesla, because they're also obsessed about Tesla and the electric cars and. So I got him one share of Tesla. And on his birthday, I actually gave him, I created a share certificate, gave it to him. Hey, listen, here's one share of certificate for Tesla. You own one share of Tesla. And then he started asking, what does it mean? I said, no, you're a shareholder. It means you're part of the company. You own a piece of Tesla. Then I started explaining, what it means. And then fast forward to 3 years later, the share was like over almost $300 at the last time I checked. It was over $300. And then he's like, how did it just grow without me doing anything? So can you see now the conversation is changing? Now he's not trying to ask questions now. How did it get to $300 per share, that share? Now you start explaining to what is a share and how does it grow, what it means for a share price to grow, etc. So the conversation starts shifting now, right? And also those financial habits are really formed while the kids are young. And by talking about this share of Tesla, it has completely changed how we view investments, even though he doesn't really fathom exactly or, gets the sense of what it really, really, really means. But I mean, him seeing that it's tripled over a 2-year period was just like mind-boggling and the start of bigger things. So I think that's what we're trying to achieve at Squirrel Away. That was more at a micro level. We're trying to really, really shift the culture. I think for too long, families, particularly black families, have really been excluded from conversations around wealth. And not because we lack ambition or because it's because we don't have the tools. They haven't really been made available to us. I mean, another example, if you look at what type of products are pushed in our communities, it's always consumption driven. It's never about how do we create wealth. And with this app, that's what we want to change that narrative, invite new conversations at dinners, child achieved a milestone, put that 100 rand, opportunities to build legacies and just saying to the next generation, we are not just spending money, but we are planting it. I think at the end of the day, my job would be done and I would have achieved my vision if we can normalize that mindset that we start breaking cycles and build a culture of creating wealth that is shared amongst all of us.
And Spongile, just one final question before we let you go, and very quickly, are we able to deposit more than once onto the account? Because a child's birthday only is once a year, so
Yeah.
I don't want parents and families thinking, hey, it's only going to happen on their birthday. Are we able to multiply or on occasion deposit into those accounts?
Absolutely. Like I said, for me, the focus, because investments and wealth is a long term. That's why my focus was on kids. But for instance, I can save for myself. I can save. Anybody can gift, even they can gift you, Tebogo, as an example. Not even gift, you can even contribute for your own contribution as well. So anytime you want to deposit, the app is open 24/7. You deposit. We've built an app where it's automated and. So any time you want to deposit money, you can contribute. You can decide to do it monthly. You can decide it as an ad hoc. So it's really that flexible and really that simple. And it makes it, that's what I'm saying, it's access and making it easy for people to just, throw in that 100 rands there. And the funny thing is, because I've been testing this around, my networks as well. It's like now kids, it's like they get, one of my son's friends got over 90% in his maths. And he goes to their mom. My mom gave me their mom gave me the feedback that, instead of buying me Beyblades, can you just put money into my Squirrel account? And I was like, okay, the progress is being made.
I love that.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Spongile, thank you so much for your time. And you can get this app on your Android or iOS device. Just search Squirrel Away. I already see there it's got a whole 5-star rating, which I love. Spongile, thank you so much for your time this afternoon and for helping our children invest in the future. Not just the parents, but the kids as well being a part of this. And I love these conversations.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
The founder of Squirrel Away, investment gifting app for families. Throw away the toys, invest in your child's future through this app. It's called Squirrel Away. And for the very last time this afternoon on The Upside, Musibudi Makura is standing by with sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Tebogo. Good morning. Good afternoon once again from the sports desk. We'll start with cricket news. So Proteas batter Ruben Herman has pointed out to his 106-run third wicket partnership with the captain of the side, Rassie van der Dussen, as one to thank for their win over Zimbabwe yesterday, which was their second of the T20 tri-series that also involves New Zealand. Herman also recorded his maiden half-century to end on 63 at the Harare Sports Club yesterday and was unlucky not to see out the innings with the skipper with an unbeaten 52 runs. Now, he says they capitalised on a few gifts from the host side and the rest took care of itself.
We were quite in sync. It was quite nice because we both just knew if we just batted, we'll score quick enough. We were both ruthless on bad balls and so on. Luckily, we got a couple of them, and so just took good batsmanship, and then we just keep speaking on our options and just playing good cricket because then our aggressive nature will take care of the scoring by itself. So it was just sticking together for as long as possible, and unfortunately.
Now, South Africa came into that match on the back of a loss to the Black Caps in their second match, and Herman says they have figured out the pitch by the time they faced Zimbabwe again. He also says that they had to be a bit more aggressive with the bat, especially this after losing 2 early wickets.
Well, I think one thing we identified is the new ball is quite tough on these wickets because there is a bit of invariable bounce and invariable pace. So the new ball is probably the toughest time to bat. So I think, and then after that, Zim also did well to come back after losing a couple of early wickets. But then I think probably the difference lied in, I think we were just maybe a bit more ruthless in the batting department with bad balls. We were good at running twos as well, so I think the batsmanship was good from our part.
Right, so South Africa as well as New Zealand will face off tomorrow in the final of this T20 tri-series out at the Harare Sports Club in Harare, Zimbabwe. On to this now. Banyana head coach Dr. Desiree Ellis is hoping that a fatigue doesn't come into play as they prepare for the titanic clash against Nigeria in the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations semi-finals at the Labri Zaule Stadium on Tuesday. So South Africa as well as Senegal could not be separated after 120 minutes in their quarter-final tie played on Saturday, and the defending champions marched on following a 4-1 win in the penalty shootout. It was also the first time that Ellis' side failed to get onto the score sheet, although they did keep another clean sheet, their third in 4 matches, with goalkeeper Andile Dlamini yet to concede a single goal, also having not played in that 1-1 draw match against Tanzania. Now, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations 2022 winners are now unbeaten in their last 10 games at the Continental Showpiece, and Ellis insists they know what it takes to beat the Super Falcons of Nigeria after knocking them out at the same stage about 3 years ago. So, however, she has also raised concerns about tired legs, as her players only have 2 days to recover, while they also have to travel 619 kilometers to get from Oja to the city of Casablanca. Further field now, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta says he is 100% sure the club followed the right processes when dealing with former midfielder Thomas Partey, who was under police investigation for multiple counts of rape while he was playing for the club. The Ghana midfielder, 32 years of age, left Arsenal at the end of his contract on the 30th of June, and 4 days later was charged with 5 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual assault. The offences are reported to have taken place in 2021 and in 2022, with the Metropolitan Police having confirmed this in a statement on the 4th of July. The charges involve 3 women and 2 counts of rape relating to 1 woman, 3 counts of rape in 1 connection to a second woman, and 1 count of sexual assault linked to a 3rd woman. Partey denies the charges and also welcomes the opportunity to finally clear his name. That's according to his lawyer. Detectives also started an investigation in February of 2022 after police first received a report of rape. Arsenal, by the way, are in Singapore for the pre-season tour. They'll face off with AC Milan as well as a Newcastle before travelling to Hong Kong, where they'll face off with Tottenham Hotspur just before the start of the 2025-2026 season. And finally, Venus Williams will make her return from a 16-month layoff at this week's Washington, D.C. Open. The 7-time Grand Slam singles champion saying Sunday that she's not sure of anything beyond that. The 45-year-old American overcame a serious health scare just last year, and after enjoying a visit at Wimbledon just a few weeks back, decided to accept a wildcard entry into the U.S. Capital Tournament, the first hard-court tune-up for this year's U.S. Open tournament. Venus Williams, by the way, is the 2000 Sydney Olympic singles champion, also won 5 Wimbledon singles titles as well as 2 US Open titles. The most recent of her 49 WTA titles came back in 2019 at the Taiwan Open. That was the last year she played a full tour schedule. It's 15:36 p.m. Central African time, and concludes your sports news this afternoon on The Upside. I do return with the final sports update for the afternoon in the next hour. As always, for any sports stories you'd like to share with us, send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
The Shy Guy, a Morning Switch.
Have you ever listened to a song and then it gives you goosebumps? Because it takes you way back in the 80s. My goodness. Hey, baby. You hear Yvonne Chaga Chaga there. I want to talk to the DJ. And then the DJ goes like, hey, baby, I've got you on the other side. Huh? There were no WhatsApps then, right? There were no sliding in the DMs at the time. Oh, man.
Your weekend mornings are activated with the Shy Guy on the Morning Switch. Broadcasting in 5 different languages, connecting the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
And it's 38 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. And for the very last time this afternoon on The Upside, let's get the business news with Buntle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Tebogo. Good afternoon. In our final look at the business news this afternoon, Morocco Central Bank Governor Abdelatif Jawari says the bank is exploring the use of its own digital currency for peer-to-peer and cross-border payments. A central bank digital currency is controlled by the central bank, in contrast to cryptocurrencies that are usually decentralized. Elizabeth Mapari has more.
The Morocco Central Bank says it's been working with the IMF and the World Bank to assess the payment system impacts of its central bank digital currency. They are also exploring the use of digital currency for cross-border transfers. Cryptocurrencies have been banned in Morocco since 2017, but the public continues to use them underground, circumventing restrictions. The bank says a draft law on crypto assets is currently under review by the country's finance ministry.
Portugal's Galp Energia says it expects to find a partner to develop a promising oil discovery offshore Namibia. This as the company raised its core profit target for the full year after a better-than-expected performance in the second quarter. Galp raised its targets for adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization this year to more than $3.1 billion, up from a previous $2.9 billion forecast. Zambia's finance ministry says it expects economic growth in Zambia to accelerate to 6.4% next year from 5.8% this year, driven by its mining and agriculture sectors. The southern African country's economy is recovering from a severe regional drought, which curbed growth last year after years of protracted debt restructuring negotiations. Lebogang Mabange reports.
The Zambian government says it will focus on increasing electricity supply from power sources like solar, given the severe impact the drought had on hydropower generation and productivity in major industries. It projects that the production of key export copper will be just over 1 million metric tons next year, 1.2 million metric tons in 2027, and more than 1.3 million tons in 2028. President Hakainde Hichilema's government has been trying to lift copper output and is aiming for close to 1 million tons this year after strong first quarter production.
South Africa's Minister of Small Business Development, Stella Ndabeni, has described the meeting of the first ever Global SME Startup 20 ministerial meeting in Johannesburg as a historic milestone. Ndabeni underscored that the country's role as the first African presidency of the G20 on the continent presents a unique opportunity to shape global priorities through the lens of Africa and the Global South. Minister Ndabeni also acknowledged the important leadership of Brazil and India in advancing the Startup 20 engagement, affirming South Africa's commitment to driving innovation, inclusive growth, and greater political recognition for small businesses worldwide.
This marks a historic milestone as the first African presidency of the G20 in the African continent, an opportunity to shape global priorities through lens of the Global South and of Africa in particular. We take up this responsibility with deep appreciation, recognizing the exceptional leadership of Brazil before us, as the chair of the Startup 20 did mention, and of India, who came before Brazil, in launching and nurturing the Startup 20 engagement group.
The European Union is exploring a broader set of possible countermeasures against the United States as prospects for an acceptable trade agreement with Washington fade. EU diplomats say an increasing number of EU members, including Germany, are now considering using wide-ranging measures which would let the bloc target U.S. services and other sectors in the absence of a deal. The European Commission, which negotiates trade agreements on behalf of the 27-member bloc, had appeared on course for an agreement in which the EU would still have faced a 10% U.S. tariff on most of its exports, with some concessions, but such hopes now seem dashed after President Donald Trump's threat to impose a 30% tariff by the 1st of August. And now for a look at the indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,530 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 30. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 71. And in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha and 8. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil, is trading at 5 real 57. Russia is 78 rubles 44. India, it's 86 rupees 14. China 71.17, and South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 68 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,364 and platinum at $1,443 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $69 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459 for Channel Africa Business. I am Buntle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. If it's news and current affairs, leading opinions, and thought leaders that get your groove, this is your home, The Upside.
It's 44 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. This is still The Upside on Channel Africa with Tebogo, Lekhuleni and Mmatsheko Mosito. We are about to get into a conversation about Youth X Awards 2025. Now, Youth X is more than just an awards show. It's a national platform for young South Africans to be seen, heard, and supported. As the initiative celebrates 5 years, Nedbank is once again calling innovators, entrepreneurs, and creatives aged 18 to 26 years to submit their ideas and stand a chance to win big. With 200,000 Rand up for grabs, mentorships, and national exposure, Youth X is turning passion into progress. We'll be getting into conversation with John Mosito, Head of Youth Strategy at Nedbank, to tell us a bit more about this Youth X Awards 2025. I love this. I love youth-centered conversations, and especially those that are supporting them, mentoring them as well. Very important, not just providing financial aid, but mentoring them. It takes more than just financial aid to grow a business and to start and grow a business. So I love the fact that Nedbank is being a thought leader in this space. We're joined on the line by John Mosito, Head of Youth Strategy at Nedbank, to tell us more about the Youth X Awards 2025. Mr. John, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the Upside.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Let's talk about Nedbank's inspiration for Youth X and how it has evolved over the past 5 years.
So Youth X is a platform created to help young South Africans unlock their potential. Over 5 years, it's grown from a mentorship initiative to a full movement set on offering certain opportunities and real access and resources to young people, like funding and mentorship and national recognition. So that's what Youth X is about.
And I understand that we are also joined on the line by last year's winner, 2024 Youth X winner and founder of Re-Agile Gaming Interactions. We are joined by Brendan Mashaba. Brendan, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the Upside.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Brendan, let's talk about how Youth X, the awards, how has it helped you and your entrepreneurial journey and taken your business to another level?
Hello, everyone. My name is Brendan Mashaba. I am the founder of Re-Agile Gaming Interactions, and I'm last year's winner for the Youth X 2024. So basically, I entered Youth X with just a prototype, and I didn't know that my business idea had so much potential. And Youth X has really shown me the potential of my business, and the funding came in handy so that I can expand to more locations.
Oh, I love that. And apologies there. It's Re-Agile gaming
Yes,
interaction.
sir.
I was fancifying it there, saying it's very agile. I apologize for that.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm really fascinated by just the focus on creativity and courage and drive and all those wonderful themes, John. So let's talk about, I think, also perhaps using Brandon rather as an example. Talk to us about, what you look for, what the actual finalist needs to embody in terms of qualities for what you are looking for.
So we need someone who's solving a real problem, right? We want someone who's authentic, who's simple, who can show us the kind of value that they are creating for their context and for the environment. We also want impact. So a real simple solution, a real problem that needs to be solved, creativity, innovation, and impact. Keep it simple, keep it clean, be authentic. That's exactly what we're looking for. Have the impact, solve a problem that's worth solving.
John, why are you
And
discriminating?
Brandon's agreeing there.
Yes, sir.
Apologies there. John, why are you discriminating against people older than 26? Because youth in South Africa is like up until 35.
Yeah, we get that quite a bit. So what we did, right, when we saw the problem that we're trying to solve, again, you're looking at the youth dynamic in South Africa, and that youth unemployment being a very, very, very big part of that social ill, including access to resources. But if you break it down even further, the most impacted in that group is between the ages of 15 and 24. So that's where we're trying to really, really focus is in that bracket. That's where the biggest problem is. That's why we're discriminating against the 34-year-olds and 35-year-olds about to turn 36.
Okay, so let's do it this way. Let's take a quick break. When we return, I'm really interested in just the use of the prize money. I think 200,000 South African rands is a good place to start for any young entrepreneur. So we're going to look at that and so much more when we return.
In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can get it on the upside.
8 minutes to go till the top of 4 p.m. in Central African time. Welcome back. We are talking about the Youth X Awards. Well, they are back. In case you haven't heard, they are back for the year 2025. And it really is about championing young South African change makers, empowering them, not just with money as a resource, but with other wonderful tools. And in conversation right now to unpack all of this with us is John Mmatsheko, who is head of youth strategy at Nedbank, and we also have last year's Youth X winner Brandon Mashaba, who is also joining us on the line in conversation. Brandon, I want to know from you as a winner. You've experienced this. You've experienced the glory, if I could put it that way. So talk to us about. I think also just as a young entrepreneur, you would know that money is a wonderful resource and a great tool for support, but there are other things that you need, right, as a young business person. So talk to us about the 200,000 rand, I beg your pardon, prize money. How did you use it? But what other tools and resources like mentorship and guidance, how did those come into play to support you?
Okay. So on the grand prize of the 200,000, I was able to scale my business So we have built more gaming cabinets and placed them in more different locations. And we are working on also developing our own interface. So the 200,000 also helps on that, and also on the marketing and the branding of the business. Firstly, we didn't have a website, but now the website is there, and then we sort of like have uniform. We still have to work on that a bit. But yeah, the 200,000 came in handy, and yeah, we made sure that we take good use of it, because it's a quite a huge amount, especially for a young person who has never touched it. But on the mentorship, on the 200,000, they also Nedbank also offered a financial advisor. So anyone that was in the top 10, you have access to a financial advisor, and they don't just give you the money and say go see what you do with it. So they actually sit down with you and strategize with you. And on the mentorship, yes, the mentorship is very helpful. You know that some of us, we don't even have role models that are close to us. So having a mentor that guides you step by step, someone that you can explain your challenges to and they help you to find a solution, that really also came in handy. And also the exposure that came with winning the competition. As you see now, on Channel Africa, I never thought that we could be speaking about our business in this channel. But the exposure and the people that we met during the whole experience, we met people who are change makers, and I really appreciate the opportunity to experience all this.
John, let's talk about the minimum or criteria that you are looking for those who would like to be a part of this year's Youth X 2025 awards. An idea is one thing. It's amazing to have an idea, but is that all it takes? Just an idea is enough to make you a part of the Youth X awards, or do you need to have a business that's established, that's currently running? It must have been running for a couple of months, registered. What are you looking for?
So, first of all, it doesn't have to be a business, right? What we've been seeing the past couple of years is that a lot of people who came in with social impact projects, you understand, something that they're seeing in the community that's a problem, and they've built something that is going to help out in the community. So it's not necessarily you have to run a business. It can be a social impact project. And secondly, where in the stage must you be? It'd be great if you could show us some form of prototype.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that, you could have built something like a working app or something like that. You could show it to us in terms of screens or whatever that you put on a PowerPoint. As long as you've demonstrated that you thought about this, you've gone out, there's a real need, there's a real problem that you're trying to solve, and you've managed to put together a solution, and this is what it looks like. We look at it, you understand? Again, you need to be between the ages of 18 and 26, up to and including 26 years old, and you need to have a Nedbank qualifying account.
Okay. Sounds really exciting. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that information. Where can we go if we'd like to perhaps read up a little bit? What's a good platform?
Cool. Great. So people can go to the YouthX website, which is www.youthxbynetbank.co.za. There you'll get all the information about the YouthX Awards and a lot more other value propositions that we've got for young people that will help them with certain resources that they can have a head start or position themselves well in the market.
John and Brandon, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and all the best for this year's Youth X Awards. We can't wait to crown someone new and inspire the next generation.
I wish I was 20.
No. 20? You would have made it if you were 20. They don't discriminate. At 20, it's still fine.
Do a little something. 200,000 Rand sounds very juicy.
I'm just joking. The voices there of John Mmatsheko, Head of Youth Strategy at Nedbank, and Brandon Mashaba, 2024 Youth X winner and the founder of Lekhuleni Gaming Interactions. It's now time for us to say good afternoon to the Queen of Business in Africa. That is Tami Ngubeni. How are you? Good afternoon.
Happy Monday to you. Look, it gets better and better as far as these titles are concerned. But once again, I will take them all. Good news, sort of, coming out of Nigeria. Almost 3/4 of the states in Nigeria have actually reduced their debt over the past 15 months. They've reduced their debt exposure.
That's
Almost 3/4. That's a really big story. But on the flip side of that, about 10 of them have, once again increased their loans and borrowed some more. So we'll find out exactly what's going on and the factors affecting those moves. And also FlySafe Air in South Africa, they had to cancel some flights today over the ongoing pilot strike over wages and scheduling. They really are playing tennis as far as the pilots and FlySafe Air are concerned. We'll be speaking this afternoon to SABC's economics reporter Naledi Ngobo on the dynamics of why they can't seem to be finding each other.
We can't not have FlySafe Air. They're the quantums in the sky. Those ones.
I like that.
No, for real. Because the flight duration says you're going to get there at 1:30, for example. At 1:15, there are no shortcuts in the sky. FlySafe Air pilots. So please, we hopefully are able to get a conclusion and that they'll meet each other's demands. We can't have FlySafe Air down. It doesn't make sense. I saw so many people at the airport frustrated.
It was a mess today. It really, really was. But we'll be keeping abreast of developments on that side.
All right. It's 4 p.m. on the dot in Central African time. Thank you always for your listening ear. We appreciate it. From myself, Mmatsheko, Mosito, and Tebogo Lekhuleni, it's...
Bye-bye.
I thought you were going to say something extraordinary. But wait, now.
Until next time, sizobonana.
Yabona, something, rap something.
Sharp.
Okay. Until next time, Africa in Business with Tami Ngubeni coming up next.
It is a very good afternoon to you, Senegal. A very good afternoon to you, Tanzania, Eswatini, Zambia. Good afternoon to you, Côte d'Ivoire, Egypt. Good afternoon to you, Africa. Welcome to Africa in Business on Channel Africa. This is your Monday afternoon edition. I'm Tami Ngubeni. And let's start off with the latest local, continental, and international news as we head over to the news desk with Onele Nsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Tammy. Looking at your top stories, prominent Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi released on bail and at least 19 people killed in Bangladesh crash. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Prominent Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi has been released on bail after being charged with illegal possession of ammunition linked to protests last month in which at least 19 people were killed. His arrest and especially the suggestion that he would face terrorism charges sparked a wave of condemnation, with human rights groups denouncing it as aimed at suppressing opposition voices. Mwangi denied all accusations against him as he appeared in court today. Fellow activists and supporters who had gathered to show their solidarity and support sang the national anthem. A renowned political commentator, Prince Mashele in South Africa, has challenged those who criticized KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi for accusing senior officers of colluding with criminal gangs to back up their criticism with facts. Mashele says Mkhwanazi's allegations are backed by evidence. He says it is highly unlikely that President Cyril Ramaphosa did not know about the allegations. Mashele says the president members of the media 2 weeks ago and made explosive allegations against some top cops, including the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu.